Chapter 1, Beautiful Israel. Abigail and Rose settled into their comfortable seats for their long trip to Israel. It was first-class accommodations, and they were thrilled. The trip was non-stop, so they were happy with the nice seats to rest during the trip. "Oh, we are blessed, Abby," said Rose. "This is going to be a most comfortable trip. Joshua is a saint for doing this for us." I'm a little frightened though, but first class makes it so much easier to bear. The stewardess stood at the front and gave her instructions. Rose listened carefully so as not to forget the instructions if anything happened. Abigail could see that Rose was getting tense and reassured her by taking her hand. Then they were off. Rose's stomach jumped as the plane went into the air. She had her eyes closed tightly and held onto Abigail's hand. I remember my first plane ride. I had been in California at a school, and I got sick with my asthma, so, they told me to go on home. So my parents got me a plane ticket, and it was frightening. I went into the plane and found out I had gotten onto the wrong plane. It was nonstop to Paris. So then I got on the right plane, and as I sat there in the seat, I was terrified. And all of a sudden, the plane took off. And then it went straight up and over the ocean, and then started heading back towards my town, several states away. And I'm there, oh my goodness, I was so scared. I would have loved for someone to hold my hand during that time, but I know Jesus was with me. So let's continue. Then they were off. Rose's stomach jumped as the plane went into the air. She had her eyes closed tightly and held onto Abigail's hand. It seemed as though they were climbing forever, but then slowly the plane leveled out. The captain came on the intercom, introducing himself, giving the weather, the altitude they were flying, and the time of arrival in Israel. He explained they would be landing in Tel Aviv in 13 hours, and Tel Aviv was 6,424 miles away. The girls planned on staying the night in Tel Aviv, since it would be so early in the morning, and then on to Jerusalem. Rose was so excited she was beside herself. The stewardess came by with a menu and drinks. Rose sipped on her soda and marked her menu, and for the first time, looked over at Abigail. Abigail's eyes were red as though she had been crying. Rose's heart responded in sympathy. "Abby, what's wrong?" she asked quietly. Abigail sniffled and dabbed her nose with a handkerchief from her purse. "I don't know, Rose. Suddenly I feel really sad." Rose looked at her and nodded her head. "You're missing Joshua. Come on, admit it. It was wonderful seeing him again." Abigail took the bottled water and poured more into a plastic cup she was drinking from and set it in front of her on the tray. "It's true. You're right," she admitted. "I didn't realize how much I'd missed him until I saw him. I've been trying not to think about him or anything that happened at Christmas. But when I saw him," her voice trailed off. Rose didn't know if she should say what was on her mind, but she launched ahead boldly, as was her way. Abigail, I know we've talked about this some since John's death. But why would you not want to marry a wonderful man like Joshua? It's obvious that you both care for one another. It's as plain as the nose on your face when you look at him. Oh my, and the look on his face, oh my, he adores you. I know he loves you so very much. He told me so. Abigail looked at her startled. He did? When did he say that to you? Abby, at Christmas. We sat out on the swing, and he told me he loves you. He fell in love with you the moment he saw you at the hardware store. The man is crazy about you. Why don't you give him and yourself a chance? I think you will both be very happy together. But you're going to have to trust God and believe that a marriage with Joshua is the right thing to do. Abby was thoughtful as the stewardess came by and picked up their menus and told them dinner would be served soon. Rose, you know that the reason I won't marry anyone is because I can't have children. Joshua is young. He's only 36 and can have children again. We both know that he would be happier with someone that can fulfill that desire. I won't be able to do that for him. Big tears started to roll down Abigail's face once more. It's a hard cross to bear, she continued, because I care for Joshua very much, but I want him to be happy. I won't stand in the way of his happiness. He deserves a woman that can give him a home with children. Rose listened, and her heart was filled with sadness. She wondered if she should say what had been on her heart for a long time. Yes, she would say it. It had to be said. Abby, have you ever thought that maybe it was John who couldn't have children? Didn't you say you had been checked, and then the doctor said there was no reason why you couldn't conceive? It's possible, Abby, that John lied to you about being all right in that department. Abigail looked at her with surprise in her beautiful eyes, and as Rose watched her, she admired how the teal silk blouse Abby was wearing brought out the blue-green of her eyes. He said he had tests done and that he was fine. I never saw a report, but I believed him. Abby sighed with sadness. Rose plunged ahead. Abby, I think John lied to you. Or that girl lied to him that he was the father of her child. Maybe he never had tests, and just maybe he believed that woman was telling him the truth. People can be very deceitful. I don't think you should base your happiness and future on something that may not be true. Just then the stewardess pushed the cart down the aisle with her dinner, interrupting their conversation. The stewardess set the food trays in front of them. Oh my, this looks so good and I'm really hungry, Rose exclaimed softly, as not to be heard by passengers in the seat across from them. She must have been overheard, because the man closest to them across the aisle smiled broadly and raised his drink to her. Rose became flustered as she realized the man was quite handsome. He had a shock of blonde hair with touches of gray and startling blue eyes that seemed to be lingering on her. She looked away quickly as her heart jumped in her chest. What was wrong with her? She didn't think she had ever reacted like that to a man before in her life. Feeling like a foolish schoolgirl, she concentrated on the prime rib, garlic mashed potatoes, and asparagus spears with hollandaise sauce in front of her, so as to quiet her pounding heart. She looked over at the Neptune salad Abby was poking at, and she was really glad she ordered the prime rib. After all, she had to keep up her strength for this long adventure. She and Abby finished their dinner, and the stewardess took away the trays. She looked out the window and caught sight of the sunset and the clouds over the water. She pointed it out for Abby to see. They both watched the beauty of God's watercoloring, of oranges, pinks, and purples in the clouds as the sun sank into the darkening skies and water. Rose marveled and thanked the Lord with all her heart and soul that she and Abigail were traveling at this fantastic speed, headed for Israel. Suddenly, happiness and peace, like she never felt before, filled her. And all her misgivings about the storm and the loss of their parents' beautiful home disappeared into the fading light. As she sat there basking in the love of God, she wondered what wonderful surprises lay ahead in Israel for her and Abigail. And with a smile of peace on her face, she closed her eyes and fell instantly asleep. That's the end of chapter 1. Don't you think it's getting a little interesting? The man across the aisle. We shall see what happens. Anyway, dear ones, say a prayer for me, and I pray for you. And if you don't know how to subscribe to my channel, can you do me a favor and go on YouTube? And I'm sure you are on YouTube, but hit the icon with the picture of, Abigail on the cover, and it's usually in a round circle. Hit that. I think you can figure out a way how to subscribe with that. I know on the TV set it's easier to do. I may take a video if you're able to get YouTube on your TV, and I'll show you how to do it. It's much easier on there. But I'm just worried that maybe some of you, just like me, did not know how to do that. I had to have my daughter show me. So, I can show you since I learned. Okay, dear ones. Oh, my cheeks are getting really red. It's really warm out here. I think it's over 86 degrees. It's pretty hot. But anyway, I love you guys. Those that are following me and being faithful, thank you. But I sure wish you would just like my videos. I'll put on a video about how to like the videos and how to subscribe. Okay, dear ones, I'll see you next time for chapter 2. Bye-bye.